Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Annette Richmond. I apologize for being a couple of minutes late. I was just grabbing some water. I hope everybody can see my screen. And if I don't see anybody putting the questions that they can't see it or in the chat, I will get started. Okay, it looks like everything is all set. So let's get going. This webinar will run about 45 minutes and it will be followed by about 15 minutes of a question and answer session where you will be able to ask me questions. I will also unmute your mic so that you can actually just say your questions to me. So who am I? Very briefly, I have been sort of on this career path since the early 1990s. I was an associate editor with a magazine. I decided to go back to school and get a master's in psych, and I landed at a nonprofit as a vocational counselor in the late 1990s. At that time, I was looking for information online that we could share with our clients because nonprofits never have any money. I didn't find a lot of career information. So in the early 2000s, I founded careerintelligence.com, which is the savvy job seekers resource. It's still up and running, not as much attention from me, but it certainly has great resources written not only by me, but other talented writers as well. During that time, I also worked as an adjunct professor, teaching communications and also writing at some local universities. I also spent a couple of years as a recruiter, contingency, which is third party. So when you place the candidate, you get paid a percentage of their salary. And then I decided I didn't like being the middleman. So I moved into resume writing in 2014, and that has been my position since then. So I will have a special webinar, special offer for you at the end of this. That's what took me a little bit of time. I was getting it ready for you. It's a really discounted package that you can get in the next 48 hours. So I do want to make sure, please do check the handouts. There is a LinkedIn cheat sheet there for you, a resources checklist. And there's also a video which you can watch at the end, which is just a short video showing you how to set your LinkedIn privacy settings to attract recruiters. Okay, so why is LinkedIn important? And, I talk to potential clients, several times a week, and often they come to me for a resume. And I try to, explain to them how important it is to have a okay, I'm sorry. I just see someone is saying that they're having a problem logging in. I don't know why Eventbrite is sending you Spanish instructions. I apologize for that. The handouts are there available. Email me afterwards if you are unable to get them, and I will send them to you. I will email them to you after the webinar. Okay, so why is LinkedIn so important? In the first place, it's your face to the business world. So anyone you send your resume to who is intrigued by your resume will go to LinkedIn to find out more about you. Also, if someone, a friend gives someone your name for a potential position, or you meet someone at a networking event, in person, not available now, but still a lot of virtual networking events, they will go to your LinkedIn profile to find out about you as well. It's a great place to tell your career story, which I'll get into a little bit later. Your career story is what makes you memorable. People in similar positions are doing similar things. That goes for your resume as well. And the only way to really stand out, to hiring managers, recruiters, is by your career story, because that makes you you. LinkedIn is also a great place to enhance your professional image, and I'm going to give you a few ways that you can do that. And then, of course, also to make connections and build a network. Okay, so it's essential to have a complete LinkedIn profile because it is sourced by recruiters. When I was a recruiter, I spent hours on LinkedIn every day looking for candidates. Again, as I mentioned, a hiring manager who gets your resume will go to LinkedIn to find out more about you. The people you meet anywhere will go there to find more information, etc. The big thing to remember is it's very suspicious if your LinkedIn profile is not there. People wonder why. And today, hiring managers, recruiters are all looking people up online if they're interested in them. And many, I forget the percentage, Career Builder recently did a survey. I think it was more than 50% said that they wouldn't even contact someone if they don't find them online. So think of your LinkedIn profile as Google for people. If you know anything about websites, most people know the better content you have, the higher you come up in a Google search. The same thing with LinkedIn. If you have a barely there skeleton profile and a recruiter is on there looking for someone with your credentials, you may come up as number 637 out of 724. You don't want to do that. Okay, I see some questions here. If you can please, I will happily answer all of them at the end. Yes, your resume and LinkedIn profile should mirror each other, but they're not exactly the same. So I will address all of these things at the end of the webinar. So you want to make sure that you come up high in a recruiter's search. So 77% of recruiters now use LinkedIn now in the hiring process. These are from recent surveys, one from 2018 from JobVite and the other from 2020. 42% of candidates are finding jobs on social media. You know, that includes LinkedIn. And then 31% of candidates find jobs through professional connections. So one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about is how to make sure that your connections, you stay top of mind with your connections. So what do recruiters look for on social media? And when we're talking about social media, LinkedIn, of course, is very important, but this also includes if you're using Twitter or you're using Facebook. So they like to see engagement in organizations and groups. They like to see examples of written or design work. I will talking to you about where you can put things like that. And they also want to see if you have any mutual connections, someone that they might be able to ask about you. What they don't like to see are political rants. So, you know, politics is not welcome on LinkedIn. I see it there myself. You know, it's just not a good idea, particularly if you're looking for a job. They don't want to see spelling and grammar mistakes, just as with a resume. And they don't want to see the things that, you know, pictures of you know, drinking or smoking. I'm sure you've all heard a few years ago, there were a lot of stories about people getting fired for what their employers were seeing on social media. And you have to remember that, you know, even if you're on the job, your employer may still be monitoring you. Many of them do monitor their employees on social media. Okay, so here is one big difference with between the resume and the LinkedIn profile. The resume is written in the implied first person, but it's very professional. There will have some branding elements. Most resumes do in terms of color and the things that are spoken about, the accomplishments you have, accomplishments, achievements, which are all kind of the same thing that will deliver your brand. Resumes are also often read by many people sitting around a conference table, passing around, or they might each have a copy of someone's resume if they're contemplating bringing them in for an interview or certainly hiring them. LinkedIn is written directly in the first person, particularly the about section, which is where you're going to be telling your story. It's also more casual than a resume. You don't want to have spelling mistakes, excuse me, but you do want it to be casual, and you do want it to show some of your personality. So, the way you would write your resume in a more professional manner, your LinkedIn profile is written in a much more casual tone. And it's generally read by one person. It's generally one person who has your resume or for some reason is clicking on your LinkedIn profile and is reading it to learn more about you. So there's a few things that I'm going to talk about in detail. Your headshot or photo, your headline, which is a headline for a reason, writing this compelling about section, which is your career story, your professional experience and how to make that stand out, and then where to show things like certifications and courses and things like that. So you want to make sure that your headshot communicates the right image. When your friends and family, when you show them you upload a photo, when you ask them how it looks, they see you. They see the person that they know. However, if I take your name and go to your LinkedIn profile and I haven't spoken to you, I don't have any reference for it. So it strictly stands on the photo. So you want to have a clear headshot, nothing cut out. People sometimes have pictures with, a group shot and they cut their heads out. Something smiling, business attire. And, I see a lot of people, for some reason, men wearing tuxedos on LinkedIn and their headshot, not really a good look for LinkedIn. The worst one I ever saw was a woman's headshot, which was her in a bridal gown with the veil and everything, which is, totally inappropriate. I was a recruiter at the time, and based on the photo, which was a really lack of judgment, I did not even contact her. So one of the things that I recommend, I am not affiliated with this company at all, is Photo Feeler. It's a place where you can get objective opinions by strangers. It's anonymous. You upload your photo and you put in your title, and that's it. And people, it started for business, and for business photos, people reviewing them are looking at the picture to see if the person is competent, likable, and influential. It's also has morphed over the years. People now they have a different rating for dating sites and other social media. So you can use it for that as well. Again, bad things, and I already mentioned these, the group shot, crop shot. Some people have a stern, almost mean expression. Obviously that's not a good look. The formal attire I already spoke about, and also action shots. I do sometimes see people, photos of them skiing or something like that. If it's not relevant to your job, it really doesn't belong on LinkedIn. LinkedIn over the last few years has become a bit more like Facebook, but it's still not Facebook. Okay, so your headline is called a headline for a reason. You should use it to sell yourself to employers. I see a lot of people who are looking for work, their headline is, looking for new opportunities. Not a good headline. The default headline, which shows your current or most recent job, a little bit better, but really not good either. The best thing is to have a strong descriptive headline that sells you to employers. Okay, so here are the examples of current position that advertises your boss or the employer. Again, currently seeking new opportunities. If you want to talk about that in your about section, that's fine. But, recruiters aren't searching for or looking for new opportunities. And the headline is one of the most valuable places on your LinkedIn. Your headline, your job titles, and your skills section. So the third one, open to new opportunities in digital marketing with business development and sales. This at least adds some keywords to it. The one thing you want to do is have your target position and then some keywords that sell you. I've also seen people have very vague headlines like, senior executive or accounting professional. Those don't work very much either. So here are a few real headlines that are selling the person to people looking at their LinkedIn profile. Not only are they saying, here are some of my top skills, it also means if a recruiter is looking for a VP of sales and they're looking for someone, some of their keywords are business development, contract negotiation, someone with this headline is going to come up higher than someone who says, VP of sales looking for new opportunities. Again, so here are just other headlines that are more effective. So the About section is called the About section for a reason. It used to be the summary when they changed their interface a few years ago. They did call it now, obviously, the About section. So your career story should be, how, why, and when. You should have contact information in your About section, whether you are looking for a job or not. You can have an innocuous phrase there so it doesn't alert your employer. And you want to have a keyword-rich skills section. So what's your career story? Talking about sort of the who, what, and where. Why did you choose this career path? Maybe when you were a child, something happened. I've had worked with chief technology officers who started down this path because their sister got a computer for Christmas, but didn't really use the computer, and they fell in love with it. I've worked with people who are working in marketing because they studied anthropology in college and found that whole idea of different cultures interesting. So again, I've worked with people who are working healthcare publishing because they wanted to work in healthcare. Their dad was a dentist, but they didn't want to be, one-on-one service providers. So again, you can talk about, what do you love about your career? What are you most proud of? Are you proud of, building a great team that's really contributing to the company's success? Things like that show your personality. And then also, it might be sometimes people choose a career because it combines their some of their skills or experience. I'm an example of that. I'm a resume writer. It combines my prior experience as a magazine writer, my time working as a recruiter, and my whole idea of going back and studying psychology was to be working with clients. So these are just things to think about when you're writing your About section. It also makes you memorable. If a recruiter looks at, pulls up 50 or 100 LinkedIn profiles and reads 20 of them, If you have a unique story in there, it's going to help them remember you. So the professional experience, obviously you want to have robust job descriptions. You want to highlight your achievements as you would on a resume, and you want to list the jobs with each employer. So a lot of people, why I mentioned having the robust career section, is a lot of people on their LinkedIn profile, they have their job title and that's it, the job title in the company, and maybe a line, managing the team or whatever. That is a skeleton profile. And again, just like a website, a LinkedIn profile with that type of content is not going to come up very high in a recruiter search. So even if you're a great candidate, they may never see your LinkedIn profile. So one of the things that I use with my clients with their resumes, most of the resume writers I know work with this or some other formula. I believe this is the most common. And it revolves around having a challenge and an action and a result. And that is how you show the impact you've had on your employer. And you want to have this on your LinkedIn profile. And it's also very important, obviously, on your resume. So the challenge might be something that was there when you came on the job. It might be something that came up while you were there. The action, of course, is everything you did to solve this problem, and then the results. So, for example, if there were stagnant sales and you created, you did research and consulted with people and formed a team, and together you came up with these great ideas and you launched a new campaign and sales increased 20%, that's your achievement story. So here it is, a little bit more laid out, the challenge, the action, and the result. When you do create your bullets, you want to flip it around. It's what resume writers call front loading the bullet. You increase the sales from 600,000 to $10 million. That's the metric, the result, by bringing branded personal care product to mass merchandisers. So that's the story of how you did it. And I look at a lot of resumes, and salespeople always have a ton of numbers, beating quotas and generating sales, but they don't have the story behind it. And people who work in a more of an operational type position they often have the task they're doing. Well, they brought branded personal care products to mass merchandiser, broke into the mass merchandiser market, but there's no results. So it's important to have both. So now I'm just going to give you a few formatting sort of best practices for your LinkedIn profile. A resume is constrained by the, you want to keep it to 2 pages. The LinkedIn profiles are constrained by their character counts for the different sections. So you want to make your LinkedIn profile easy to read. I see a lot of people that have very big blocks of text in the about section and their professional experience. You want to have short paragraphs. I'm talking like 2 or 3 lines, and then maybe 3 to 5 bullets after them in the professional experience section, and also maybe in your about section. And the bullets are things that you might want to highlight. So the features section, I had mentioned this early on. This is where you can really show things that make you different, make you stand out. LinkedIn, I think it was actually last year where they really bumped up this features sections, and you can upload a lot of different formats to it. You can upload Word and PDF. It might be reports that you've worked on, of course, nothing confidential. It might be a career portfolio, it might be a marketing campaign that you worked on, or it might be a case study of something that you worked on. You can upload JPEGs and images. So if you have an award, you can take a photo of that and upload it. Certifications, the same thing. Many certifications have logos, and you may have your certifications listed on your LinkedIn profile, but if it has a logo or a photo associated with that, you can bump that up on your featured section and bring it right to anyone's attention. You can upload PowerPoint, and you can put links to YouTube. People today do ask me, sorry about that, my dogs are watching dog TV at the window. People ask me about having video resumes. Well, a video resume is something that you may want to have, as an addition to your traditional resume. And if you have that on YouTube, you can put a link to that on your in the features section. I use a YouTube video myself. If people want to meet me, they can click on and have a little virtual consultation with me. Also, if you have personal websites, which are becoming more popular with job seekers, or if you're doing a podcast or something like that, you can link to that as well. So, a lot of people they don't get as much out of their LinkedIn profile as they could, because they're just not using it effectively. They're just not bothering with all these great things they can do with it. So when I was talking to you earlier about enhancing your brand, excuse me, there's a lot of ways that you can make yourself, more appealing to employers and stay atop of mind with your connections. Status updates. People often don't use those. You can share knowledge, articles, industry, things that are happening in your industry. If you're, at the executive level, you're probably following trends, things like that already. So you can share those articles as status updates. You can go on LinkedIn and comment on other people's posts. If you have recruiters at, your target employers, that's one way to engage with them. You can write articles. The LinkedIn calls them long form posts. I think actually they changed it back now to articles. You can use that to show your expertise. So, if someone looks at your profile, they will see that. And one of the things I want to mention is, your LinkedIn profile also shows your activity. So if someone, a recruiter or hiring manager, goes to your LinkedIn and there is no activity, it shows that as well, that you're not really particularly engaged in LinkedIn. You should also follow your target companies. That way, if something happens there in the news, you will learn about it. And also, if you set your privacy settings correctly, and I'm not going to go into detail about this, and you're following the target company and you have the settings set just right, recruiters from that company will know that you're interested in working for them. So that is certainly a good reason to do that. You can join industry and job seeker groups. If you're part of a job seeker group on LinkedIn, sometimes people exchange jobs. And there are a lot of industry groups on there as well. I will tell you that groups are just not that active anymore. Certainly not the way they used to be, but it's still an opportunity to maybe make some connections, and maybe learn some things. A lot of people do post information there. Okay, so because I wanted to have mostly time for your questions, what you want to think about with your LinkedIn profile is, again, it's your face to the business world. So, the old saying of you don't get a chance to make the first impression, it's certainly true with your LinkedIn profile. And you want to make sure that the impression that you make is a good one. You want to make sure that you're telling your career story and stay active on there. So again, someone had asked earlier, tailoring your resume, should mirror your LinkedIn profile. It really is, they should complement each other, but not be the same. So I have unmuted, let me just finish off here. So this is the special offer that I have for you. I put this together. It's a Jumpstart Your Job Search Starter Kit. And it does contain a bunch of things that will really help you with your job search. You know, obviously, if you're interested in working with me as a resume writer, I would certainly welcome that. But I do have a, the secret to creating a resume that gets results is a DIY resume writing kit that also contains resume templates. How to say it is several phone scripts that you can use to follow up after a resume, follow up after an interview, etc. How to get called back is a bunch of steps you can take after your job interview to make sure that you're called back for the second interview. How to jumpstart a successful job search kind of speaks for itself. It's a lot of things that you can do, how to get references, how to research salary, etc. And a cover e-note template package, which contains a template for writing to recruiters, one for hiring managers, and one to make introductions. So again, I have unmuted your mic, so you are free to, unmute the mic at your end and ask me any questions you have. I'm also monitoring the questions box. Does anybody have any questions? You're all here. You must have some questions. Okay. Can you copy and paste your resume content into LinkedIn? Well, no. I mean, yes and no. You can take your resume content as far as the professional experience, and no, I don't recommend it. You can take your resume content as far as your professional experience, and you can modify that for your LinkedIn profile. You can still showcase the achievements that you have on your resume, etc. I do not recommend that you take the summary that you have on your resume and put that as the about section of your LinkedIn profile. You really, really want to have more information there. You want to have a compelling story. You don't want to have a, third person bio. You also, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. You also want to give people stories that will make them remember you for a resume. I'm sorry, for if they find you on LinkedIn. And also, your headline, you want to make sure that it's selling you. So do I recommend just cutting and pasting? No, but take some of it from your LinkedIn profile and from your resume and modify it for your LinkedIn profile. Yes, you can absolutely do that. Okay. My rates for resume writing. Okay. I will just tell you that I do have all of my pricing for resume, LinkedIn profiles, etc. on my website. You are welcome to look at that. My packages, custom packages, which I put together, start at $16.47 and run to a little bit, I think it's a little bit over $3,000. So, there are different packages that are available, but you can also purchase anything pretty much a la carte. Okay. Jobs, professions, how do you effectively combine it and write into a LinkedIn profile? Okay, so if you have, say, because I don't know anything about you, let's say you're working as an accountant, but you have a side gig where you are, making jewelry and selling jewelry online. You don't want to have those both on your LinkedIn profile. I actually have worked with and working now with someone who's a coach. They have a full-time job, but they also do sort of personal coaching, professional coaching on the side. So I don't recommend, you don't put that together. Partly because they don't mix, but partly because they, if you have a full-time job with an employer, they want to know that you are working for them and you're not going to be, say, rushing out of the office to go home and work on your side gig, or do that during your lunch hour. So you don't want to have those both on there. If you are talking about combining professions, I'm not, let's say if you are someone who works in marketing and you work in online marketing, you also work, do digital marketing, you also do print. So in your about section, you might talk about a successful digital campaign and a successful print campaign, just to show that you have both of those abilities. And again, I see people putting up question marks. You can unmute your mics and speak to me if you wish. I have unmuted you, so if you're muted, it's because you are it's because you have muted yourself. So any other questions? I don't see anything else in the question box. Yes, if you're looking for a tech job and you volunteer to teach kids tech, you can certainly mention that. One of the things that resume writers just generally do not do is to put volunteer activities on a LinkedIn profile unless it is relevant to the career. So you can do that on your resume. But as far as LinkedIn, you should most definitely put your volunteer, anything you do to volunteer on your resume. I'm sorry, on your LinkedIn profile. So you would list it under a volunteer activity. You can also mention it in your about section. You love tech so much that you even, you volunteer your time to, teach kids. Okay. Okay, I'm saying that it says that you're unmuted on my end. So try unmuting again, please, and I will try it again if this doesn't work. So, and also volunteer experience makes you memorable. My husband and I volunteer. We're very much into dog rescue, and we I'm going to try muting you all again. Okay, I'm not sure why this isn't working. Usually it does work. Okay, this, as I click on these, it says that you are all self-muted. So please try unmuting yourself. But we volunteer with Save a Lab, a dog rescue where we have adopted our last, our current 2 puppies. And I have people that mention that to me. I've had clients ask me about that during our conversations. Okay, any other questions? You see, we still have some people left. Nope, no more questions. We have another 15 minutes. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I want to oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why the microphones are not working. I've unmuted you all several times and it doesn't seem to be working today. I apologize. I don't know why it's not working today. Usually it works like a charm. So I don't know why. Your end says you can't unmute and my end says that you are self-muted. Oh, Ann is muted. Wait a minute. All right, I'm sorry, the unmute does not seem to be working today. I apologize for that. So I'm not sure what's going on here. So anyway, I apologize that for some reason the mics are not working. You're not able to unmute yourself. I will send you all a link to the package that I mentioned. It really is a great buy. You know, I do have a lot of people that come and purchase the self-guided resume package. And, you know, if they're really on a budget. So again, I apologize for the microphones. I'll have to check and see what is going on with that. If there aren't any other questions, please put them in the questions. I'll give you a minute for that. People are dropping like flies because the mics aren't working. So thank you very much for being here. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, and I will email everyone a link to that discounted package. All right, well, thank you very much and have a good day.